Welcome to Final Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Plouffe. And today we're listening to Steve Hiett's Down on the Road by the Beach.
It's true.
It is true. It's also an interesting album. Steve played it in a couple of bands that never really made it big before changing his focus to photography. And he ended up working for Vogue and Marie Claire in Paris for like 20 years. During this time, in 1982, and I'm just going to kind of lift a couple sentences from the website here, representatives from Tokyo's Gallery Watari visited him to propose a solo exhibition, asking if he could insert a 7-inch of original music into the back of the exhibition catalog. Hiett laid down Blue Beach, Welcome to Your Beach, in a Parisian radio station, playing all the instruments by himself, and then 2 more cuts in New York with Yoko Ono of all people, the Doobie Brothers, and Steely Dan hired gun Elliot Randall. CBS and Sony actually facilitated an entire album deal behind his back after getting the demo, and he flew to Japan to check out what he thought was the art book. Instead, he ended up buying a guitar and recording an album with Moonriders, who I hadn't heard of, but apparently they were super popular in Japan at the time, as well as Elliot Randall, who the studio flew out at Steve's request. Both the album and the art exhibit are supposed to be the embodiment of the color blue, which is kind of neat. There's a lot of blue on the album, as well as,
Because down by the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make you think of blue by making a very blue album cover and calling it something about a beach.
So anyway, they came out with this album. It was only released in Japan in 1983. It's kind of a concept album in a way, and it just got re-released a couple of years ago. I think someone just found it and was like, "This is amazing," and then they ended up getting it released. I got it through Be With Records for
in the UK.
I think they're in the UK. Yeah.
Yeah. It's £26 right now.
Oh yeah, you can still get it.
Looked it up.
Yeah, it was pretty good, eh? Anyway, we'll get to that later. I heard 1 or 2 songs. I'm on a couple record label mailing lists, and so I get random emails like, "Hey, this album's coming out," whatever. So I listened to a track, and I instantly was like, "Oh, this is sick," and I bought it, including shipping. I probably paid a pretty high price. If you said it's 26 now, is that for the version that I have? I've got the 7-inch. Yeah? Okay. So I probably paid that plus $30 in shipping. And this is all USD or pounds. So 50, so $75 Canadian probably is what I paid for this album.
Jeez.
Which is it's a lot, but it's also about what it's going for now on Discogs without shipping.
Yeah. So the version you have goes about that much.
Yeah.
But the original Japanese pressing
How much
goes
is that?
for as low as $102.
Ooh.
And as high as $485.
Wow. Yeah, it's kind of a hidden gem, and they self-describe it as much, both on the website and in the art book, which we'll get to later. I really like it. I've seen a few comments mention that it's kind of proto Mac DeMarco. I don't know how much I agree fully with that. It's kind of similar, and I can see the commonalities that they share with the sort of dreamy guitar playing.
Yeah, it's very dreamy.
Dreamy,
That's the way of describing it.
Dreamy guitar playing. They actually describe it as zero gravity blues, which I think is kind of accurate as well.
So it's Space Wave.
Maybe we'll get to Space Wave someday, Jamie. I promise. But yeah, I find that it's kind of like if you mix blues with surf rock and then toned it down a few notches.
Yes. Yeah. It's slow surf rock.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. A lot of Beach Boys influence, but if you spaced them way out and whatnot. A lot of the influence comes from the time spent in Miami a few years before all this happened. That's actually where most of the photographs are from. That the whole package comes with an art book that we'll get to later, but that's where most of those photos are from.
On account of him being a
photographer. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I picked it up. I've listened to it several times. I love this album. It is inconveniently not on any streaming platforms that we're aware of, although you can find it on YouTube. But yeah, I liked it. What did you guys think?
Loved it.
Nice.
Wow.
It's a 13 out of 13, baby.
Whoa!
Don't
spoil it, Jamie.
No, it's not.
It's not that high.
It's like a solid 10. But
cool. We're not doing well.
Don't spoil it. Stop giving us.
They already clicked off the episode.
We know Jamie's pick. We're done.
All right. It's not a 10. It's more like an 11. Anyway. What am I getting? It's probably a 12. Anyway.
Do you have any other thoughts that aren't numbers or just numbers in your head?
No, it's a great sounding. So the genre you're thinking of is instrumental surf. So it is a slow instrumental surf album.
There's
and there's 2 covers on it.
Yeah, I think there's 3 actually.
Oh, I don't.
There's definitely at least 2.
Yeah. So
Yeah, Roll Over
so
Beethoven is definitely a cover.
That's a Chuck Berry cover.
And then
Sleepwalk, yeah.
Sleepwalk's
is a
another cover.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure
think
another of
that's
these.
it.
I think Never Find a Girl is also a cover.
Oh, I wasn't.
Yeah, I think that's an old blues song. And there might be others on here. I'm not entirely sure, but it actually on the very
everyone with lyrics could be a cover.
yeah, probably it wouldn't surprise me. On the back it says this is a guitar album, which I really like.
Yeah, it sure is.
But yeah,
I don't listen to a ton of mostly instrumental music, but I do like nostalgic vaporwave like kind of music. It's really hard to talk about the album though, as you either just like the vibes or you don't. Especially on something that's really this one beat. If you like the vibe, if you really like the vibe, you will like this one because it really does not move off of that same reverb, echoey guitar, day at the beach kind of vibe. And I only regular like the vibe. So it's like, okay, it was good, but I also was like waiting for it to change, and it was just like the same effect, the same guitar, the same key. And it's like, okay, it's fine. I like the album cover, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary and nostalgic and romantic all at once.
A number of the comments on the YouTube for this album noted that it sounds like an album that could have come out in the last, 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels very 80s to me.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think this sounds 80s at all.
The synths and the guitars, it feels like I'm at a retro day at the beach. I actually didn't realize this was an 80s album. I thought it was recent. It says it in the video title,
but
I didn't care. I just hit play on my TV.
But if you thought it was recent, doesn't that coincide?
I thought it was the 80s.
What?
Yeah, the synths and everything like that. I thought it was like an 80s album, and it is.
It is. In fact,
but I didn't know that at the time.
Wow.
It just feels old.
It's
very nostalgic, especially with the album cover. It brings back days of Yonder.
It feels like a lot of the albums that came out around the time when vaporwave was very popular.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
Albums that sounded like 80s music,
but
they
were
supposed to come out now or had come out now. That's the vibe I got from it. And then knowing that Steve Hiett is now gone, but he
died recently.
Yeah, he was born in the 40s.
Yeah, he lived 80 years. He's fine. He lived a good life.
But knowing that he wouldn't have put out an album that sounds like that now. In fact, he didn't really put out that very many albums.
Yeah, he's this one, and then they also have another one for sale now, I think, called Dream Gazers or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or in the Dreams in the Grass or something like that.
But I know him because I have a book of portraits of Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, so he was in a couple of bands trying to get big. Funny enough, actually, one of the guys from Led Zeppelin was in one of his bands briefly.
Huh.
I want to say John Paul Jones.
It makes sense. He's the one that no one else would think
it's
of.
true. Yeah, no one remembers John Paul Jones. Anyway, he was in a couple...
He'll be in your band if you really want.
Yeah. He was in a couple bands. The last big one was called The Pyramid, and then it wasn't really going anywhere, and then he was taking a lot of pictures at the time, and eventually he's like, yeah, maybe I'll just go and be a fashion photographer. And then someone later that day or later that week was like, hey, you'd probably be really good at fashion photography, and that's when it kind of sealed the deal for him. But he spent a lot of time because he was touring and making music, taking pictures of famous artists at the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Cool. I actually wrote in my final notes that that's the problem with this album is that I don't play it enough because it doesn't usually suit the vibe. Mm-hmm. Because that's exactly it. It's super chill. It's super laid back.
I'm trying to think of what the vibe is. I listened to it yesterday while I was cleaning up upstairs in the office. I wasn't...
Yeah.
I don't know. I would never listen to this if it wasn't a sunny day. It hits that vibe so hard. I'm going to listen to it in the 2 months that we have of not rainy weather here in Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to it any other time.
This one had lo-fi beats to listen to while you're watching rainfall vibes.
No, it's so warm. Everything is so warm and floaty that if it's raining, I don't want something warm and fluttery. I want it to match the weather, which is...
Interesting, yeah.
Kind of
I got
subdued
the exact opposite.
Yeah, weather doesn't bother change how I want to listen to music at all. It definitely is a warm and sunny album.
I have synesthesia, so I can really see and feel this album, and it's not this weather.
Orange everywhere as soon as it comes on.
What's the aura? Is it an orange aura?
Sorry, I don't do auras. I see sound. I don't see auras.
Okay, but what aura does it have?
I don't. I don't see auras. I don't know.
If it's a yellow.
I might be wearing an aura
Yellow?
ring,
Yeah, it's
but
probably yellow.
I love the album, but it's hard to find the exact right group of people that are also in the right mindset. Because I've definitely hung out with people that I'm like, yeah, you would probably like this album, but then we're like, you know, getting ready to go out or something. I'm not going to put this on when we're like trying to get amped up.
no, it has to
for
be
a
like
show
when you're
or
out in the
something.
patio.
Totally.
And like
Exactly.
people are just in and out of the house, so you have something kind of on.
Absolutely. So while it's a favorite of mine, it's not something I put on frequently because I like Jamie. I can listen to it whenever and enjoy it because I do like it a lot overall. But I find it does have kind of a time and place for me personally. So I don't tend to like
I
put it
probably
on
would put
constantly.
it on like I was making breakfast on a Saturday.
Yeah,
or
that would
something
work,
like that.
sure.
I just put it on.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm
that's-
not.
Yeah, that's cool. That's why the podcast is okay.
Yeah, I wish we actually held to the same opinion. It'd be more fun.
Yeah.
It's like I think it's a 7. I agree. And it's just, thanks, guys.
Over.
See you later.
See you later.
Great recording.
Well, why don't we? It's hard to talk about it without listening to it. Should we give it another listen?
Sure.
Okay.
What an album. Yeah, it's not super long. It fits on a single LP. I think they're...
Luckily, this isn't a super long album. I think there's one that comes with 245s, right?
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, Val. Pretty sure there's one that comes with 245s instead of the single LP, and I have no idea how the songs split at that point. But this one cuts off after Long Distance Look. That's where side A ends. Then we start side B with Hot Afternoon. But yeah, it's not crazy long. Most of the songs are like 2 minutes, maybe 3. Some are a little longer, but it's a lot of like interlude-y kind of stuff, which is fine. I like interludes.
I will say this is another album that we will point out that he doesn't know how to end a song,
Totally.
and it just stops.
The funny thing is, this is one of the only times where I don't hate fade outs.
Yeah, they all fade in, they all fade out.
Because I feel like it really suits the vibe and the theme that he's going for. Of that, like, I'm just sitting on some beach chair and I'm fading in and out of consciousness as I, like, lounge in the sun. So for me, this is, like, the only time it doesn't actually bother me all that much. But yeah, pretty much every song fades in and out.
And that wasn't a criticism. I just
Sure.
Yeah, it didn't bother me in this case. If the songs had a hard end to them, I think I'd find it more off-putting.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it really kind of works here, like, for once. But anyway, we start with Blue Beach, Welcome to Your Beach.
Banger.
Yeah, it's good. What a trippy, like, dreamy opening track. I love this.
Well, guess what, folks? You just know their opinion on every song now.
He's right. It's true. I won't deny that, he's a photographer making a guitar album. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the most,
This is definitely, like what he said, it's to go along with an exhibit. It's like,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
it makes perfect
You're
sense.
walking around looking at photos, listening to something that can't grab your attention, but
Yes.
it enhances what you're looking at.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. It is more of like a concept piece.
This album has a wine pairing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. But yeah, I don't know. I just love the slow, kind of quiet drums in the background.
Yeah, it's very relaxing.
Yeah, I like the change up around 2 minutes. I think it's a lovely and good way to kind of keep the song going without becoming boring. It's super resigned, though. Like, you're just done for the day and you're kind of floating off to sleep.
Yeah,
Sick.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this song. This is a good way to open up this album. It lets you know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It does change up a bit with Never Find a Girl to Love Me Like You
To
Do.
Love Me Like
It's a bit of a
You
pace
Do.
increase, but luckily it's not so much that it's jarring, as we've talked a lot
Yeah.
about pacing and the structure of albums to kind of prevent that. The only problem I have with it is that I wish our vocals were more pronounced. They get pretty lost, and I have no idea what the singer's saying.
Yeah.
Because it's just like deep in there. It's like it's surrounded by a bubble of guitar and tropical Jack Johnson vibes.
Yeah.
It's just like there's a little man in there somewhere.
I
I don't know
actually,
where he is and what he's saying.
I
There's a
really
little man on your
dig.
dash.
Yeah.
I really dig the like fading in and out vocals that are a theme kind of throughout the album.
Yeah.
On some songs, it's more apparent than others. But yeah, this is actually an Eddie Floyd song.
Oh, Eddie Floyd.
Yeah.
He does the song "Knock on Wood," which is really good.
This sounds pretty different from the Floyd song, but you can definitely like see the inspiration.
Yeah, well, well, you know what? No, not all the covers sound different than the actual song. So.
Roll over, well, we'll get to them. Yeah, we finally get some singing, which is kind of nice. But yeah, like Bell said, it's
the
definitely
second song on the album.
I know, but I'm like, I don't listen to a ton of instrumental stuff only when I'm trying to work. So, and the first song is like 3 minutes or something, and the rest of them are
4
kind of
minutes,
short.
18
4 minutes.
seconds.
Yeah, it's a longer song. That's what I meant by finally. But yeah, I don't know. Fades out a little bit, but I kind of dig it here. I like the solo a couple minutes in. That's kind of my only note.
Yeah, I enjoyed the solo too. It's kind of, he's not a virtuoso,
No.
right? But it's soothing.
It fits.
Just like the rest of the album.
Yeah, and he knows how to play guitar.
It's true, he does.
Then we get to By the Pool. We chill out by the pool, if you will.
I think this is my favorite on the album
Interesting.
because it's got the floatiness of the first song, and it has the vocals of the second song. But since he's just vocalizing, it doesn't matter that he's trapped in a little bubble of instruments, and I can't understand what he's saying because it's just like, it's like, okay, that's enough to like be relaxed, but not be like, well, what the hell is he saying?
Yeah.
So it's a good balance. It's good.
I like how it's like sort of an interlude at only 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Especially because there's only like vocalizing really. Like you said, there's not really lyrics, so it doesn't try to be its own kind of song. I don't know. I think it's a cool track overall.
Roll Over Beethoven is an interesting cover.
This song sucks.
You don't like this
I don't
song?
like anything about it. It's like listening to how being seasick feels because it's just like, whoa, and the instruments come in and out, but like in a weird pace. And it reminds me of Pink Eye on My Leg from the Mollusk.
Oh, really?
The one with the barking and the bark, 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 bark. Like I did not like anything about this, but I didn't like the original Roll Over Beethoven
Fair,
either.
okay.
You
Yeah.
don't like the Chuck Berry version?
No, I don't like any version.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, this one I especially dislike.
Okay, so the Chuck Berry version has more of a, it has a pace to it,
Yes.
right?
They're getting something done.
And it's got like the classic like Chuck Berry like chunky rhythm.
Yeah.
It's chunky.
This doesn't have any of that. It's
No.
a light and airy and sort of slow version of Roll Over
Very
Beethoven.
very slow and airy.
I didn't hate it. I mean, like it's a weird cover for an album that sounds like this.
It's super weird.
It's almost like he's remembering a day at the beach and there's like someone was playing Chuck Berry.
Yeah,
Totally.
I mean, maybe.
He took a lot of inspiration from the Beach Boys for this album before Pet Shop or whatever. I'm not a big Beach Boys fan, so I can't tell you like all the albums.
Pet Sounds.
Pet Sounds, yeah. So he's a big fan of. He took a lot of inspiration from the album that came before that. I don't know how if that explains
Oh, is it the one
anything.
with Sloop John B? on
I
it?
don't know. I don't know anything about the Beach
This
Boys.
is an unverified fact.
Yeah.
You can help by adding citation.
Yeah, I don't know. I've listened to the
Talk page for this wiki or for this podcast is nuts.
I've listened to the Chuck Berry song quite a few times because
Oh, sure.
it used to be like super common and stuff.
It's a banger.
And especially how this came out
It
in
was in the movie about the dog.
yeah,
Beethoven.
yeah. And
Beethoven.
I find that if this came out today, it'd be a super weird song to cover. But since it's '83, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, the song was only like, well, that song was like 30,
It was still like 20 years old or
25
something.
years old, yeah.
But it was songs from them were still being played in the 80s and stuff.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yeah,
Well, there was this
65
like
years old now.
50s revival
Yeah.
in the 80s. That's why you got like Pink appliances and stuff like that because
Yeah.
it was like, well, remember the 80s? And it's like, well, I sure do. Grease is the word, but like
Grease
Grease came
is
out
the
in the
word.
70s, right?
oh my god.
But yeah, there's this like whole movement of like, you remember how good the 50s were?
Yeah, the good old days.
The good old days of 25 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know. And I like that the vocals kind of remain in the background. And I like the weird fading in and out and stuff because it just the whole thing screams
his
like
voice-
lounging on a chair.
His vocals on this have like a kind of like he's like singing through like a weird like vocoder
Yeah,
almost,
or from like kind of far away or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
like David Bowie in on Heroes where
Yeah.
he's like yelling at it.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It definitely feels like distinctly surfy instead of bluesy.
Then we go right into In the Shade, which is another one of those.
It's another almost interlude, is what I called it.
It feels like it's from a movie score or like something that would just be, a lost in the desert or a long drive after bad news.
Yeah.
It's just like in the background, there's somebody thinking.
The hero from the sunset. Yeah, it's like all those videos on YouTube where it's like you're listening to a song as you drive away, and it's just like Outrun.
Yeah,
yeah, and everything's the sky is purple and pink, and the sunset.
I don't know if I agree with any of that, but I do agree about driving, and that's the feel I get as well.
Fact checked. He does agree with me.
Yeah, I like this one. I think it's just really dreamy with all the layered guitar.
That's
and
a word for it.
Yeah, dreamy. Yeah, and no percussion like at all. I don't have much else to say about In the Shade other than I like it. But
yeah, the guitars are kind of chimey on it.
Yeah.
And
we get to Looking Across the Street.
I'm not a fan of this one either.
It takes a while to get going.
I actually like it before and after it gets going. I don't
Really?
like the get going.
Interesting.
So I like the beginning with a little twanginess. It
Yeah.
grabs some attention, but not too much. And then at like a minute and a half, it just like completely changes.
Yeah,
And I don't like it because it sounds like they're just riffing, but it's like not good enough that I want to listen to them riff. So I'd rather just have the little twanginess.
That's fair.
there's 3 separate guitarists listed on this track.
Yeah, they were playing with Moonriders, as well as the Steely Dan guy.
So there's no percussion listed. There's no bass. It's just 3 different guitars. Elliot Randall plays guitar. The Japanese fella from Moonriders plays guitar, and Steve Hiett plays guitar, and that's it.
So what happened was he went and bought a guitar, recorded some stuff back at his hotel room, and then he showed up at the studio the next day, and the Moonriders were just there. And he's like, who the hell are these guys? I've never met them before in my life. Yeah. Anyway, he told them, he's like, look, this isn't working, because they had sheet music and stuff, and he couldn't read it or whatever. And he's like, this isn't working. You guys leave and come back when I ask you to come back, basically. But they left all their stuff there. So he tooled around with like all the instruments, and so they're not on like every track. He actually made a bunch of it kind of without them. Mm-hmm. So that's why you're going to see some listings that are like several people, and then some are like basically just him.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's neat. Yeah, I don't know. I think this one kind of takes forever to end. Mm-hmm. That's my only complaint. As much as I like how a lot of these kind of fade out, this one just like really takes its time. And it also takes quite a while to start going anywhere. So
Yeah, it's like 5 minutes long.
yeah, I don't know if I want to call it my least favorite track on the album, but I can agree. It's definitely not the strongest one.
Doing work yesterday, I didn't notice that it was that long.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's good. Like we've mentioned, it's really good for that kind of background music because it's meant to be like
I didn't
gallery
really think
music.
very much about it because I was busy doing something else.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of vibe I needed yesterday. I didn't want to have to think about something.
Totally.
But Long Distance Look.
Yeah. The last song on side A.
Guess who doesn't play on this song?
Who?
Steve Hiett.
At all?
He doesn't play at all. The only credited musician
he
is
does.
Elliot Randall.
Yeah, this is my least favorite on the album, actually.
This one is.
You're
Yeah.
not an Elliot Randall fan, eh?
I think that this one's kind of repetitive, and I'd actually be okay if it was just removed.
I mean, it's very short. It's only 2 minutes long.
It's just over 2 minutes long. But I'd be fine if like Looking Across the Street just ended side A.
So this is the song that made me go, this is in the 80s. This is not someone trying to be like the 80s.
Interesting.
It feels very 80s, the synths he used. It doesn't feel like somebody trying to, like, why would you emulate this particular sound?
Yeah.
You would just use the sound if that's the sounds that you use
Fair
at the time.
enough, yeah.
It feels like somebody to be playing in a mall, just like echoing in an empty, what is it called? Canopsia?
Canopsia?
When you're seeing spaces that are supposed to be bustling, empty, and that weird feeling you get. That's what it feels like to me, is this song enacts Canopsia. And I refuse to Google what
Look that up.
It's something
Jamie's
around there.
fast checking it.
It's definitely something around there.
You're probably close, if not correct. Collapsius.
Jamie, awful fact checker. I've already done it. It's Canopsia. Jamie, don't pull that up. It's too late.
Jamie didn't pull that up.
But yeah, it enacts that feeling of like a weird,
Yeah.
I shouldn't be here. Almost, again, unsettling. But
Spooky.
in a good way, I guess.
Very liminal.
Very liminal.
Yeah.
Super liminal?
Just liminal.
Well, that's the end of side A.
Yeah. And then we start side B with Hot Afternoon.
Best song in the album.
You love this one.
Oh, Hot Afternoon's so good.
He messaged me while listening to it. He's like, I love Hot Afternoon.
Can't we stop that?
That's the only thing we
That's
didn't
the only
talk.
thing I said. I was like, man, Hot Afternoon's the best.
Yeah.
Oh, Hot Afternoon's so good.
I think this one's pretty fun. I think it's another one Steve didn't actually do too much. This is mostly Moonriders, but he does the vocals that are kind of on in the background.
Steve Hiett is the vocalist, and the Moonriders play on everything else.
Yeah, including the keyboard.
Yeah, it's fine. It's more dynamic. There's not as much reverb, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
a good get a break from constant
Maybe
echo.
I'm a Moonriders fan. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not a Steve Hiett fan, man. Maybe I'm just a fan of the Moonriders. I don't know.
Maybe. I looked up one of their albums and I listened to it for like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, sure, I could listen to this.
Sure.
It didn't like catch my attention crazy amount, but I was like, yeah, this is fine. Maybe I just didn't listen to the right one. Who knows?
Who knows?
But yeah, I like Hot Afternoon. I think it's pretty good. But again, it's mostly Moonriders, but I like the weird kind of vocals in the back.
Mm-hmm.
But then Crying in the Sun, I love this one. It's probably my favorite, I think. It's also
Interesting.
a bit repetitive, but I find that it's a lot more interesting than Long Distance Look. I don't have much else to say for it. Otherwise, it's another instrumental song full of reverb and spacey guitar with some blues licks.
Yeah, I don't like this one as much.
Oh, really?
I don't like the twanginess. I preferred it in Looking Across the Street.
Oh, okay. I actually really like the little ditty that he kind of does at the end there.
Little ditty.
Little ditty, yeah.
P. Diddy?
Not P. Diddy. And then the next time, this is a fantastic song. The drums are back. The dreamy rhythm is still there.
Yeah.
This one to me feels like driving home in the sunset after a day out at the beach. Like you're tired, you're warm, the wind's blowing through the car.
It's
Like
starting to get a little cold, or sun's starting
yeah,
to go down.
yeah,
I like it as well. I like the acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
I wish they left more of the instruments without reverb, because they left the acoustic guitar without it. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, if you just left like everything without reverb, maybe. But it's good. I think again, it just was refreshing to get something different after this time,
sure.
because we are 29 minutes into the album.
Yeah, and it's mostly spacey, dreamy guitar with a bunch of reverb on it. Yeah.
I like the next time. I thought it was a good song.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it gave me the same kind of vibes that you guys were saying. Like, oh, you're leaving the beach for the day.
Yeah.
You're going home and it's beautiful out, or something like that, or one of those nice day vibes.
Yeah.
No.
And then we got Miss BB Walks Away, which has some light, airy notes to start. It feels like really unstructured at first, but then it kind of gets going. I love the bass in the background on this one. I don't have much else to say. I think it's a little bit more forgettable compared to the other ones, but I really do love the bass in the back.
See, and I liked the reverby stuff on this one.
Oh, cool.
So again, maybe it's just the different tone of it, because again, it feels less sunny. It feels like a windy day or driving or something like that. But I like it a bit more, but I couldn't really tell you why.
Sure, yeah. That's the problem that I had with a lot of these tracks. A lot of my notes are very short because it's either I liked it or I didn't.
Yeah.
And if I like it, it's because I like the dreamy guitar on it and stuff. And if I don't, it's because I just wasn't in the mood for it or whatever. It's such a like vibe or mood based album. But yeah, anyway.
Now for a giant trope, Sleepwalk.
Sleepwalk.
It's
Banger.
like, it feels like a bog standard beach song. I don't know what the original is or where it's from or why I've heard it, but it is like such a trope of like a beach song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I don't want to listen to it.
You don't like it? Oh man, I like the Sleepwalk. This is like I actually wrote that this is probably my favorite track on the album. I don't know. I think I like the other one more, but it's still really good. I think it's just really classic and reminiscent of songs like Earth Angel, but on the beach with like a super dreamy guitar.
Sure. So, the original is by Santo and Johnny. I really like that version, but his version sounds almost exactly like Santo and Johnny's in that it's slow. It has like a steel guitar, so it sounds very spacey, just like this one. It has like the same kind of tone to it. It's about the same pace. Maybe a little
It is.
faster.
I listened to it right now, and it is very, very similar.
It's very similar. It's like a note for note cover of a classic song.
I love a good lap steel guitar. I should listen to the original.
Yeah, Santo and Johnny were two guys from New York who were Italian.
Oh, cool.
but they played a lot of Hawaiian sounding music.
What?
So I don't know.
Maybe they should have moved to California or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the original Sleepwalk. I think this version of Sleepwalk is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of covers that sound exactly like the original version.
I agree. I tend to prefer when they do something really different.
Yeah, like if you listen to the Nothing Compares to You Prince version, and then listen to the Sinead O'Connor version,
Or I don't know, Leon LaHoffis's cover
Of Weird Fishes.
Weird Fishes.
of Weird Fishes, of course,
Radio.
yes, the quintessential version of
Yeah.
that song. But this is like a almost note for note cover of
Cool.
a great song. Anyway, last song.
Standing There.
Yeah, no, I'm sitting down.
Whoa. I like how slow and dreamy it is. I think if this was any song, like I think if it was not on the end of the album, I don't think I'd like it as much. But I think it's a really good end to it.
Yeah.
It's like, carry me to sleep, kind of lazy, but not in a bad way, just relaxing.
You're describing me.
I like the extra reverb or whatever he puts on a couple times throughout the track. I think it's a really pretty song with a nice ending.
Yeah, it is pretty. That's a good way of describing it. It has a very pretty tone. It has a very pretty ending to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one where I find the ebb and flow of the instruments very relaxing. I can see myself getting enhanced in listening to this.
Yeah.
And there's piano for the first time
Yeah.
in the background. So the piano sounds like, "Oh, little town of Bethlehem." I was like, every time I'm like, "Oh no, I've ruined this song
funny.
for me."
Hilarious.
But yeah, it's very relaxing. And like I said, I could see myself liking it. I feel like the piano is very tasteful. And although it's Christmas music, I don't mind.
Cool.
What about the album itself, please?
Yeah. So we'll get to the physicality of this bad boy here.
Slap that thing down on the table. That's disrespectful.
So it's a pretty cool release. I do have the repressing that came out in 2019.
So shiny.
It's not that shiny, but so the artwork is
Keep slamming it around.
hold on. It's this person on the beach or by the beach, and
Could
it's
be
very.
Steve. No, it's probably lady though.
I think it was a girl, but I can't remember.
It looks like a woman.
He went on a trip to Miami and took most of these pictures there.
Welcome to Miami.
I want to say it was with his wife, but I'm not sure. Anyway,
Mrs. Hiett.
the back is just the track listing with this is a guitar album kind of note on the bottom, which I really like, and then the inside is the same person drinking a beer or something.
Hell yeah.
Having a
crushing
Meister brow there.
Yeah, crushing it.
Is it just credits on the side there?
Yes, a bunch of, I think, song credits. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Bunch of song credits, production credits, and then some efficient space stuff some efficient space stuff and Be With Records. They're the guys who ended up getting this thing produced. This is from the original masters, which is nice, and it also comes with both a 7-inch and an art book.
Yay.
Yay! We all
7-inch.
we always love extras.
Is this the art book that the album was in promotion of?
Yes,
Oh, interesting.
or at least I'm pretty sure it is.
Where's the 7-inch?
Where is the 7-inch?
He's got to whip it out somewhere.
I thought it was in here.
Uh-oh.
Is it in there?
Did you just come with a 7-inch?
No.
Oh, here it is.
What's on the 7-inch?
It's got the original tracks that he cut and sent over to Japan. So it's got By the Pool, which is a demo, and then Baby Baby, which doesn't appear on the album.
Crazy.
And yeah, it's a 45. But the art book is the real cool piece here, because I have absolutely listened to this only once, but I've listened to it and like flipped through the art book slowly while listening to tracks, and it fits it. Like,
He was a hell of a photographer.
really good photographer. I love a lot of the composition of a lot of these. Belle will show you in a sec once Jamie. Well, I guess you can kind of see it from there.
I'll hand it off to Bill.
Yeah, midway through, and then at the end,
there's some write-up.
there are a ton of notes about both Steve Hiett as well as how the album was created and all that.
Oh, she's crying while she's drinking a beer.
Is she crying?
Yeah, there's a tear. And she's dry. So
Wow, I never noticed that.
guess I'm just more of an artiste.
But yeah, I've got the single record that's just the 33 and a third, but the quality's pretty good. I think it sounds great. It's a big gatefold with the record on one side and then the art book on the other.
Yeah, it does
this
the
guy
nice thing
sounds-
where it's a gatefold and it's not the art book, the 45,
Yes.
and the album slammed into one sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very spacious. You can easily fit Honestly, you could, if this was 245s, I could totally fit an album with the art book in one sleeve and it would be fine. It's nice and spacious. It doesn't feel like a cheap release. I don't mind that I ended up paying with shipping like $70 or whatever it ended up being. I'm pretty happy with the purchase overall, and I've listened to it quite a few times.
Mm-hmm. Have you read this book?
A bunch of it, yeah.
Dude was pretentious.
A little bit, yeah.
What is blue?
Oh, yeah.
Blue is the invisible becoming visible.
Oh,
blue
yeah.
has no dimensions. It is beyond the dimensions of other colors.
Well, that wasn't him.
Okay.
That's actually someone else who did that originally. And
That
then
dude sucks. Whoever said that?
It's Andy Warhol.
I don't think it was.
No.
It's
No.
Eiffel 65 said that.
No, it's not April
I'm
65.
blue.
I can't remember who it was. Someone coined that, and then he went off the same concept and made his own blue album, quote unquote.
Oh, like Weezer.
Sure, like Weezer. But yeah,
He's a blue meanie.
I like all the pictures. I think they're
Oh, like
pretty
the
neat.
Beatles.
I've read most of the inside here. Most of them are, both the story of how the album was created, his original photography stuff, how it got started, and then how the album came to be and how individual tracks.
It's almost too much of a
Panned
teaser.
out.
You only get like a handful of photos and like a handful of paragraphs to read. I just want more.
Really?
You would only get through one song and you've looked at it all.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I would like...
It is very nice for something to include with a record.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
just makes me want more of his stuff.
Yeah, I can agree. A thicker book would have been nice.
Or just not like... I'd be worried about that ripping or breaking or wearing down over time.
Yeah.
Like it's not something I'd ever leave out on a table, like a coffee table book or anything.
It
No.
does have the consistency of a calendar.
Yes.
That's exactly
Yeah,
it.
the print.
It is
yeah.
a calendar, but not even as thick a paper.
Yeah, the print quality isn't like amazing or anything on it. I
is very
definitely
The
keep
photo
it.
quality is good though.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
sure.
yeah.
The photo quality is good, and like the print
the
is
card
fun.
stock is
Yeah,
not.
yeah. But that was a big thing that kind of sold me on it. I love albums that come with extras.
Yeah,
Especially if they're interactive, like the Jazz Spastics album. I love the color,
yeah.
the scent book that it comes with.
The
and
only
stuff.
one I know that I have, like I'm pretty sure I might have another one, but the only one I can think of is the Stop Making Sense, the Talking Heads one.
Oh, what comes with that?
Mine has the special edition book that comes with it, and it's like
What?
it's describing the situation that they wanted to make the movie and
Oh, cool.
how they made the big suit.
Yeah,
I'll bring it in one day. I'll make you listen to that album.
sure.
And you know what you're going to make us listen to? Your vinyl verdict.
Well, I spoiled it already. No, it's like a 10 out of 13. I enjoyed it. I will probably seek out a copy. Probably not a Japanese copy.
Yeah, a little too
Probably.
expensive.
Although I'll look on that place I ordered that bootleg from in Japan.
If you're buying anything from Japan, let me know. There's a
Okay.
few albums I want to get.
I'm gonna overnight some records from Japan.
Hey,
Like I'm Fast and the Furious.
sounds like you're rich.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm rich. Yeah, I'm not rich. Please send us some money.
Venmo me.
Venmo me.
Yeah, here's my Venmo.
I enjoyed the album. I like I said, I listened to it at work a couple of times. I had it on while I was doing some stuff around my apartment. Oh no, I know what I was doing. I was putting the lighting kit on my tall neck.
Oh, sure.
My Horizon Zero Dawn,
Figurine
Lego
statue. Oh, Lego, nice.
Yeah. And that was nice because I was kind of frustrated at that point because I had knocked the Lego over like 12 times.
Oh
What
my
is this
god,
vital
12
verdict?
times.
So, anyway, so it's good music if you don't want to have to think about it very much, and you just want to listen to something in the background and it's nice.
Yeah,
So yeah, like I really enjoyed this song.
cool.
Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, thank you. Paul, what's your verdict?
It's higher than.
So I'm honestly tempted to lower it.
Really?
After
It's
Lower
re-listening
than.
well. So, I mean, it's really good background laying in the sun music, but it's not an amazing active listening experience as it can be a bit repetitive. I could definitely see myself throwing this on as I'm reading or relaxed on the balcony, but I couldn't see myself putting this on for the 9 months of the year that we get rain here in Vancouver, as I'd said earlier. I like the idea of this album, but with most of the songs sounding extremely similar, while the ones that don't sound the same being songs I dislike, it's hard to place this one. I'm going to leave it where I had it before, which is at the 18th spot beneath Working with Miles Davis, by Miles Davis, and above the Mars Volta self-titled album. Though it could have been lower. I didn't want to
Really?
I didn't want to put it above or below Mars Volta, but I was like, well, it is better than the Beths, and that's right underneath the Mars Volta. So clearly we're going to have to rearrange it someday. But I would own this just to put it on in those extreme particular circumstances, but I can't really justify a once a year listen album purchase.
Yeah.
So I will not be purchasing it.
Cool. I think it's a good album. I mean, I own it. I've put it on several times for myself, but like I said earlier, the problem really is finding the right time and place along with the right crowd to play it effectively and have people actually like it, because it's pretty laid back, it's pretty chill, and that's just not always what you need, especially when I tend to have company over in the evening. But if I was like cruising out in the summer, or if I was going to the beach, or I don't know, like Jamie said, if I was just trying to do something at home that I didn't want to think about stuff too much, I would listen to this. I like it. I want to give it like an 8, maybe even an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like it's a little hidden gem that I'm happy to own. And I think because it comes with both the art book, which is very interesting and has some history to it, and the cool 7-inch that doesn't just repeat tracks from the album. It's got a demo and then something that's not on the album at all. I think I'll go with 8.5 just because of the quality of the release and everything. But yeah, I definitely like it a lot. And that's my verdict. It's a good album. I'd buy it again.
Well, you know who else we like?
Who?
The listeners, for tuning in next week for our topic, favorite records by canceled artists.
Oh, no.
Artists who've done something awful, probably. I mean, maybe mildly awful, but have been canceled, and we no longer feel great listening to their music.
Yeah.
Because maybe they're just not great people. So tune in to find out what those artists are.
And why we even have their records in the first place if they're so terrible.
Yeah, tweet at us with your favorite canceled artist. Well, maybe don't. I don't know, maybe we shouldn't celebrate canceled artists. But maybe we'll talk more about, can you separate the artist from the art? We can think about that. Stew on that, boys. Let's definitively answer that question.
I'm 100% offering to sell my records to anyone who wants them.
Yeah, and I actively do not try to buy ones from canceled artists, even if they made good music.
Yeah.
I cannot do it, but we'll discuss more about that next week.
What if their record album or like their record company was called Good Music?
Stop it, Jamie. Thanks for listening to Bible Verse.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.